Have you ever heard of an army so powerful, so legendary, that its own creators came to fear it? An army that, in the end, turned on the very empire it was sworn to protect? Today, we re-diving into one of history's most shocking tales of betrayal, the story of the Praetorian Guard and their role in the downfall of Rome. It all starts with Emperor Augustus. He needed an elite bodyguard, a force loyal only to him, stationed right in the heart of Rome. And so, the Praetorian Guard was born. These weren't your average soldiers. They were the best of the best, handpicked from the legions. They got better pay, served for a shorter time, and received a massive retirement bonus. Basically, it was the dream job for any Roman soldier. They were the emperor's personal protectors, his shadow, the ultimate symbol of his power. For a while, it worked perfectly. They were the emperor's fist, crushing conspiracies and ensuring his safety. But here's where things start to get messy. Power is a funny thing. The Praetorians were stationed in Rome, the only major armed force in the city. They were close to the Senate, close to the treasury, and most importantly, close to the emperor. They quickly realized they weren't just bodyguards, they were kingmakers. The first major sign of trouble came after the death of the infamous Emperor Caligula. Who killed him? Surprise, surprise, it was members of his own Praetorian Guard, fed up with his tyranny and madness. But what happened next set a terrifying precedent. The Guard didn't wait for the Senate to choose a new emperor. Nope. They stormed the palace, found Caligula's terrified uncle, Claudius, hiding behind a curtain, and proclaimed him the new emperor of Rome, right then and there. Claudius, knowing who put him on the throne, rewarded them handsomely. The message was sent, loud and clear. The Praetorian Guard could make or break an emperor. The soldiers had tasted a new kind of power, and they liked it. This pattern repeated itself. Think of it like this. If your bodyguard knows he can fire you and hire your replacement, who's really in charge? The Praetorians became increasingly involved in politics. They would assassinate emperors they didn't like and install new ones who promised them more money and more power. The infamous Year of the Four Emperors in 69 AD was a perfect example. After Nero's death, the Guard backed Galba, then quickly turned on him and murdered him in the Roman Forum when he failed to pay them the bonus they expected. They then auctioned off their loyalty to the highest bidder, Otho. It was pure chaos, a military coup playing out in slow motion. Hey, we're digging deep into some fascinating history here, and I've got so much more to share. If you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. It tells YouTube you love this kind of content, and it helps me create more videos just like this one. Go on, click it now, I'll wait. It's the easiest way to make sure you don't miss our next historical deep dive. Thanks, you're a legend. All right, back to the chaos. The Guard's greed reached its absolute peak in the year 193 AD, after the assassination of Emperor Pertinax. What did the Praetorians do? Something so shameless, it's almost hard to believe. They literally put the Roman Empire up for auction. They stood on the walls of their camp and announced that the position of emperor would go to whichever senator offered them the most money. Two men bid for it. A wealthy senator named Didius Gellianus won, promising each soldier a staggering sum. He bought the throne. Can you imagine? The most powerful position in the Western world, sold like a piece of furniture. Of course, this couldn't last. The Roman people and the legions stationed on the frontiers were disgusted. An ambitious general named Septimius Severus marched his army on Rome. Gellianus, the auction-winner emperor, was abandoned by the very Praetorians he had paid off. Severus entered the city, disarmed the entire Praetorian Guard, and executed the soldiers who had murdered the previous emperor. He then completely reformed the Guard, filling its ranks with soldiers loyal only to him, from his own legions. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? Nope. The Guard was rebuilt, and while they were more controlled for a time, the memory of their power lingered. They continued to be a powerful political force, albeit a slightly more subtle one. They were involved in the rise and fall of countless other emperors, always lurking in the shadows of the palace, a constant threat to whoever sat on the throne. The final nail in the coffin came from Emperor Constantine the Great. In the early 4th century, Constantine was fighting his rival for a unified Roman Empire, Maxentius. And whose side was the Praetorian Guard on? Maxentius's, of course. They were his elite force, his last line of defense. At the decisive Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312 AD, Constantine's forces faced off against Maxentius, and his Praetorians. Constantine won a crushing victory. After securing his power, he knew he couldn't let this treacherous institution continue. The Praetorian Guard had proven, time and time again, that they were a danger to the stability of the empire. They were a cancer in the heart of Rome. So, Constantine did what many emperors before him probably dreamed of doing. He permanently and completely disbanded the Praetorian Guard. Their barracks were torn down, and their very name was scrubbed from the records. After more than 300 years of making and breaking emperors, the most elite, feared, and corrupt bodyguard in history was gone for good. It's a powerful lesson in history. An institution created to ensure stability became the single greatest source of instability. The Praetorian Guard story is a chilling reminder that absolute power, concentrated in the hands of a few, can corrupt absolutely. They were the ultimate Trojan horse, not outside the city walls, but living right next to the emperor, waiting for their moment to strike. What do you think? Was their betrayal inevitable, or could Rome have prevented it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'd love to read them. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more stories from the wild side of history. See you in the next one.